Hey everybody, welcome back to Chicken Cindy's.
Today we're talking about drops. Rolling, rolling, rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chicken Cindy's. I'm Joshua, this is
Rich.
Here we're at Griffin Bike Park today. We kind of want to talk about the fundamentals of drops, kind of proper placement, the different ways to hit drops around Griffin Bike Park as well. How long have you been riding for total?
Right around 45 years.
So that's longer than I've been alive, and probably a lot of the people watching this as well. So I would say in my time of biking, I've learned that really drops can make or break a ride for you. If you're not dropping appropriately, sometimes if you're not like walking the trail and you don't realize a drop is coming up, you kind of go what's called OTB, or
yeah, you just slam, just a flat out slam.
And it's not ideal. So as long as Rich has been riding, I thought he would be the perfect person to kind of discuss the differences of like how to hit a drop right, how to hit it wrong, kind of those things, especially if you're a new rider. We just wanted to make a video to help you progress in your riding skills and just learning how to properly drop safely, learn how to do it safely, and just the different ways that your body should be positioned, where your feet should be on the pedals, where your saddle should be, things like that. So,
yep, let's do this.
Let's get started.
We have a multitude of drops at Griffin Bike Park. Everything from little ones over here behind me to this one's a medium one. It's about 3 feet tall. We start them small and then we move over across the valley here. We get into some bigger stuff, landing on some downhills. Drops are one of the most fun parts of riding mountain bikes. You're going to find them from everywhere, from dropping off of a route to a little rock to great big stuff when you go to some of these bike parks. It's a really, really fun, really simple way to ride your bike. We're going to teach you how to do it safely, keep things kind of in focus, and go from there. Josh is up here on this drop. You can see while the drop's only about 3 foot, he's up there in the air a little bit. His head's going to be over my head.
Especially if like it's the first time you've hit a drop. When you get to it, like if you're walking, I'm almost 6 foot, so now my head's about 9 foot in the air. So this does look a little intimidating, especially if you're a new rider, if this is your first time at Griffin Bike Park. So that's something to keep in mind if you're like looking at your features you're going to be hitting.
Yep. So one of the most important things on a drop is you want to match your bike to the angle of the landing. I see so many people hit these drops and they come off and they want to land on that back wheel. Either this front wheel down, but the back wheel scares me more than the front wheel. That'll shoot your bike out from under you, and all of a sudden you're going down backwards on your rear end. There's a couple of roots here on this one. Man, that hurts. We've all done it. We tried to teach people to avoid it. This is the proper way to do it, the way he's landing. Both wheels at the same time, nice and smooth. I'm going to be honest, these drops in this little area we're in are a little harsh because the landing's not steep enough.
They're a little flat for what they are. They're not bad on a full suspension, but if you're on a hardtail, they'll rattle you a little bit.
But they're great to learn on because they're not big. The ones behind us are just barely knee high.
Yep, and you can see there's some up top too, so they're kind of double drops, but you can hit one, skip the X, don't hit the first one, hit this one instead. You have plenty of run up top to get your speed and your gear and your feet set right as well, which that's a big thing too, because on a lot of trails, drops might be after some berms or hills and things, and your feet get a little, messed up. So having the actual space to be able to practice at a place like here at Griffin Bike Park is terrific to learn drops.
Yep, we're going to move his bike around here. So when you do a drop, you want to make sure your seat's down and out of the way. Most of us have the dropper posts on our bikes. You put the post up to where you can ride comfortably. Come on, Josh. Slam it back down. For when you're jumping and doing drops and technical stuff, you drop your seat. With drops, it's highly important. You don't want this seat hitting you in the rear end and catching your shorts and throwing you over the handlebars.
Yep, if you don't have a dropper, be sure to slam your saddle as much as you can if you're working on drops.
Take it loose and take it all the way down. You also want to make sure your pedals are level. Whichever foot is comfortable forward for you, I highly suggest practicing both ways.
Yeah.
Get used to that goofy footed technique is what they call it. Because you never know when you're going to roll around a corner and there's a drop and your feet are wrong.
Yep. Do you ride goofy or regular?
I ride right foot forward.
Okay, so I skateboard goofy, which is right foot forward. So it kind of
yeah. So
it's funny how that works.
But you want it to you want to try to get to what's most comfortable for you all the time, because this is where you're going to be coming off. This is where you're going to be landing.
Want to show them the drop?
Yeah, I can show them the drop.
Okay, I'll follow behind you.
But not on your bike. I'm going to roll in at a decent speed, not fast. Drop, drop. If you notice when I drop, I don't hit the end and yank up. I come off the end, and to keep my wheel level, I lean way back to where the bike's level coming off.
And that's why you want your saddle out of the way, so you can get your rear end basically behind your saddle and kind of over your rear tire.
Yep.
Kind of distributing your weight differently.
Yep, I'm gonna slide back just to keep the bike level. And then when I get to this edge, then I'll move forward and push the front end down.
So as Rich does this, just kind of watch his body mannerisms and just kind of how he positions his body. Let me get a little on the side more too, so you can kind of see him get set up. See how he kind of extends his arms, and then he gets his weight behind the actual bike as well. Now that Rich has kind of went over the base fundamentals of hitting an actual drop, we're gonna go to a smaller drop and kind of show you ways to kind of measure your tire and see if you can just roll it or if you actually have to drop it. So for this one right here specifically, rolling this drop could be very dangerous because of the size of it. Even on 29er wheels, you could probably do it, but it's not gonna end well. A lot of times when you do that, it's probably gonna send you over the bars, because once you hit your front tire and you kind of compress that actual fork, it could potentially throw you over and just kind of make things happen that you don't want to happen. So we're gonna kind of show some different ways to actually size your tires and be able to see if you can just roll a drop or if you actually have to hit a drop. So
I'm gonna demonstrate how not to figure out if your bike can do it, and I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know if I can do this on this bike with 27.5 wheels. We're going to find out. This is how not to figure out if you can roll a drop. Obviously I can roll it. That's not the way to check it. That could end really badly. Yep, I play around and do this a lot. You can ask Josh. We'll be out on a trail and I will roll straight off of stuff just to make him laugh.
Got to show you specifically buffalo stuff.
So, if you are not sure if you can make a drop or not, if you can roll down it, just simply bring your bike up to it and roll off and see if that sprocket will hit. And see, my pedals hit if I don't have them level. This is the importance of level pedals. Josh can get his whole hand under there, even with a bash guard on. So my bike will obviously roll all the way off of that. And to be honest, most bikes will. It's when you get into the taller ones that they won't. We'll switch over to one of those real quick.
And honestly, one of the nice things about the way that Rich is showing this is something anybody can do if you're pre-riding, walking a trail to see if it'll work or not.
So obviously we've done this drop a couple times, but I've never rolled it. And there's a pretty good reason why I've never rolled it. It slams right onto it. Back wheels off the ground.
Yeah, now I can do the opposite.
You know, it went down onto the bash guard. You don't want to do that. It can be ridden out of, but it's not ideal. No. You really, if your chain ring's hitting, your bash guard's hitting, you want to drop it.
Yep, and then you're going to destroy your chain ring, potentially your bottom bracket, and then you're also getting into the down tube of your frame as well. Yep. So, I mean, if you have a carbon frame or something like that, you don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, my carbon frame lands on that.
The opposite of ideal. So the last portion of the video, I would say, was kind of like the meat and potatoes, the getting your tires dirty, learning how to drop properly and safely.
Yep.
So now we're out here on Alpha Trail, and we found this drop here that is basically not super tall by any means, but it still has some required skill to be able to hit it.
It's scary because, as you can see, this right side is rideable, and this is new. We didn't design it that way. But this left side is flat out a drop. So you've got to have a little bit of drop skill here. And we're going to show you 3 ways to get off this. We're going to show you the slow way. We're going to show you how to do it at speed, which is a whole lot easier because we got We got a landing here that's steeper than what it was up front.
Yeah, this drop landing is very smooth and nice. So,
and then I'm going to show you how to do a no-speed pedal drop, which is highly advanced. But if you guys come up on a drop, you got to learn how to do a pedal drop. High speed. I got to stop, so you got to run me over.
So that was the high speed one. We ended up going up a little bit higher than we intended. So we decided just to go ahead and start with that one. That one's literally just going a little bit faster, putting everything that we talked about at the beginning of the video together and just kind of going. Rich did a real good job of just riding off. I kind of did more of like a little bunny hop almost, I'd say. But that's just another way that you could get off a drop when you get to, you know, a little bit higher, I guess, skill level, for lack of a better term. But yeah, we didn't exactly mean to do that one first, but that's what happened. So Rich is gonna go ahead and do the next one. And this one will be the one we meant to do first.
Slow speed.
The slow speed.
So you're just gonna roll in at trail speed and match, lean back and match.
And as you saw on that one, he did everything like he was discussing and talking. He kept everything level. And when he got his rear wheel off, he just went down and just kept going with the flow of the trail. He started halfway up. He wasn't even at the top of the actual trail. So you have quite a bit more speed if you were riding down and not riding the brakes. The berm's a little sketchy because there's some leaves on it right now. But that would be more of just the low speed, kind of beginner appropriate style dropping.
It's not the leaves, it's the acorns.
So this time what Rich is gonna show you is called a pedal drop. It's definitely a little bit more skill level to be able to do it. It's kind of a last second burst of power when you kind of hit your pedals to give yourself the speed you need to clear the actual drop. So we'll let Rich show that one now.
So I'm gonna start real close to the drop here.
And you'll see him, he's just kind of inching up to the drop, the edge of it. And then as he went to do it, as you see as he pedals, it kind of takes his front of his bike and lifts it up a little bit higher, almost like a wheelie. And that gives him the power to clear it the rest of the way.
You don't want to take it past a whole lot more past level. You want to keep your bike as level as you can because you're going to want to get that nose down when you come off the lip.
Especially with a landing that's, I don't want to say as steep because it's not super steep,
yeah,
but it's very nice for this because, and that's kind of what we were talking about originally. When you get up too high, then you really shoot out. And now you're shooting out more on a steep incline and not just on flat ground. So now you're gonna like slide down as you actually go down, which can sadly cause more injuries.
Yep, yep. You want those wheels to land pretty much at the same time.
Yep, even going down the incline. The overall game plan is to clear the edge and then get your bike level on the actual trail, wherever it is, however steep or flat it may be.
All right, guys, we're out here on the Buffaloes Trail. We wanted to show you guys kind of an intermediate drop. This one's got a skinny up to it. It's about 2 feet, 2.5 feet wide, but we wanted to show you the hill after it. This one's really easy because you come off the drop, it's a little bit of a downhill drop, and you just basically ride straight off and down the hill under the bridge. Super smooth because of this. Once again, we're going to come off the drop, we're going to lean back and keep our bike level as we come off, and then we're going to push that wheel down to match this landing. We'll demonstrate it for you here real quick. This one's really fun. Just at trail speed, not real fast. Drop.
Oh, peekaboo. That is so smooth and nice. So smooth.
It's very smooth.
And this one, we didn't really show it, but how long are these boards? 1.5 feet?
2 foot wide.
So it's almost a 2 foot wide skinny. So you come up, what's the actual feature called?
Let me look. I think a teardrop.
Teardrop. That gentleman back there working real hard, he's the one that actually built this trail, Buffalo. And then you go into that. But the drop itself is only, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 foot. It's not super tall. Kind of hits me right at the knee.
Yep,
but
this is called teardrop.
Teardrop.
And all the drops on this trail are only about knee high. Nothing's really big.
Yep.
You can just roll off a lot of them. Chip skip's a little difficult because it comes around a corner and flips you, but this one's just cake. You just got to get through the skinny part of it.
Yep. And it's so smooth when you do it. So, and you kind of go in that little wooden feature. Then he's up there working on a kind of like a berm towards the top, but it's just super flowy right here. Very fun feature. All right, you want to go to the big one now?
Let's go to the big one.
We'll go to the big one.
All right, this is El Drapo. We're on Recon Trail. This is one of our biggest drops in the park. You can see it's a little over 6 feet, almost 7 feet. You're going to land way down the hill into the transition. You definitely want your bike to be at the angle of this transition. It's not a high-speed drop. If you hit it going fast, you're going to go deep into the valley. This one, even though we've got a gap to cover, is really a slow-speed drop, and it just puts you in here.
Yep, I'd say it's a lot more of your personal technique and putting your tires where they need to go. And the very first time I hit this with Rich, he brought me and we were pre-riding it, and I showed up with my binary maniac, and he goes, "Did you bring the right bike?" And I go, "I don't even know what we're doing." And we both, did you have your reeb that day?
I did.
We both were hitting it on a hardtail, and this thing is built so smooth that you can hit it on a hardtail. It's really not that bad. It's really just the technique of hitting it.
Yep, so this particular drop, I come at it at a medium slow speed, and as I come off, you're going to see me lean back to level that front wheel again, and then I immediately push the front wheel down to get the angle of that landing. I do a lot of pushing that front wheel down to get it where I want it to be, more than I do lifting up. Our next drop, we'll go out and show you one of those, but this one, you want that front wheel down, you want to be getting into that transition, then it's going to whip you up the berm. It's really fun.
It's pretty hard to see the actual steepness of this. We'll get a view from up top here in a minute, but we'll just try to record Rich hitting it, and we'll just kind of show him going down and just showing just basically how to do it. So
I'll go grab my bike. I like to get a long run in on this so I can get set. Like I say, just medium trail speed. Nice and smooth.
Hello, tree. Sorry about that, guys. And it really just wraps back around. What's the travel on that bike, Rich?
160, 150.
So pretty trail enduro right in the middle of both of those. And I know it's really hard to get the steepness of this, but let me real quick run up to the top with this camera. And especially if you're walking this, how we were talking about how it doesn't, look super high, but then when you stand up here, so I have a 6-7 foot drop, 6 foot guy, 13 foot in the air with where your eyes roughly hit. Rich doesn't necessarily look like an ant, but as he goes where the landing is, I mean, it's pretty far down there. But once you get down into this landing, it's just super steep. But it's very, very smooth transition.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
Got it rolling, 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 rolling.
Oh, rolling.
Yeah. Gosh, that feels so good, man.
Can you see me? Oh, don't fall. That would have been great.
Like a slip and slide, man.
Yep, go ahead.
Woo, all right, so although this one is smaller than what we just hit, this one actually requires a little bit more skill because I'm standing basically at where the transition is from the edge of the actual drop.
Yes. So this one requires some bunny hop skill. You've got to get up in the air. You're not just going to drop off of this one. You're going to bunny hop off, then start your drop and try to land where Josh is at.
So the nice thing about this though is you still have this big buffer if you want to treat it like a regular drop, but if you want to actually clear it, hit the feature the way it was intended to be hit, you're landing basically all the way over here. So I mean, 7 foot, 8 foot.
Yep,
I mean, it's a pretty decent sized gap to go from here to here. And I'll point the camera up a little bit. It's kind of hard to see from here, but it's kind of set up like the one on Buffalo's. You have just a little bit of a skinny, and it's kind of a tight corner.
Yep.
And you're pedaling pretty hard from the top there to get the speed you need to actually clear this.
Yep. So on this one, I'm gonna hit it going pretty fast. This one is a higher speed drop, and when I get to this point, instead of leaning back and leveling the bike, I'm gonna compress and I'm gonna come up. I wanna get up in the air, front wheel high, and then I'm gonna make an arc, and then I'm gonna match my wheels to the landing once again. But you've got to get up high enough to make this distance, or you're gonna land on top and it's gonna be rough.
So now I would say, I mean, this is definitely more of an expert level drop. We're into the point now where we're literally putting everything that we've talked about and learned together. You're gonna need to be really comfortable on your bike. You're gonna have a pretty good idea and control of your bike to be able to hit the drops in that kind of situation. I mean, this is an entirely different, I'd almost say beast, compared to everything else we've hit, because now we're adding the bunny hop, which is really like the biggest part of this actual, this feature to actually clear it the appropriate way.
Absolutely. I'll grab my bike.
Perfect.
Here we go. So straight up and down we go.
And that's like a little wooden platform double almost right there at the bottom.
Yep, you can hit it or you can go around it like I just did.
But yeah, so that's actually a little jump if you want to hit that afterwards. So
this portion of our broadcast is brought to you by McAllister's Deli.
God, I'm so
where
hungry.
Josh and I are going to go eat after the ride because we are starving to death.
I'm getting a fat cookie and a big old sweet tea. Well, guys, I know that was kind of a lot, and we were kind of shooting for a longer video, but we were shooting for the idea of kind of starting with the basics of dropping.
Yeah.
But kind of showing you all the different like variations of drops Griffin Bike Park has to offer, and also how to hit them safely, how to approach them in that kind of a situation. So if you ride around here, definitely take advantage of those videos. And then ideally, if you're riding Rich is here, and he'll just tow you in too.
Yep.
So
anytime I'm out, look me up, get a hold of me. Yeah, I'll take you through. I like to ride.
So, but no, we really appreciate you guys watching. It's always awesome having Rich on the channel when I can. I try to do it as much as I can, but sadly life happens, and
It does.
being a little over an hour away sometimes makes it difficult. But if there's anything that maybe you want clarified better in the comments, if there's something you just have a question on, anything like that, please let us know. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in, and everybody take care.